All right, I am going to stir up a hornet's nest with this. But I was recently reading comments under a single action post where two men were nitpicking one another. One guy was nitpicking another guy about calibers. Men always just kill each other over calibers. And one guy was a 45 Colt purist and ripping on another guy because he liked 38, 357. His comment was, "Are we playing cowboys or not?" And it just got me thinking because I like American history and I wanted to find out the history of 357 and 38. So I started watching all these videos and doing a bunch of research. And come to find out in my research, 38 special is just as cowboy, if not possibly a little more cowboy than a 45 Colt. So stick with me and I'll explain my thoughts. Now, this is probably going to offend some people, but like I said, I love American history, and I did a deep dive on this, and my objectives, metrics, standards that I used was just dating, the dates. That's all I used. It wasn't how many guns were produced, how many people were killed, how many shootouts, anything like that, just dates. And so I'm doing 38 versus 45 Colt here. Let me also get some dates out of the way. Most historians will say that they believe the cowboy era, the Wild West area, was from the end of the Civil War, 1865, to about 1895, about a 30-year period. It's amazing to think 1,000 cowboy movies have been made based on a 30-year period in our history. Other people will argue it goes to 1910. I saw one person say it ended in 1918 with the last shootout, but most historians will agree it's 1865 to 1895. So that's the era I'm using, the dates I'm using for cowboy calibers. Should fall somewhere in that range. Now, 45 Colt, most people who are shooters, cowboy action shooters, know it goes back to 1873. Lands right in that sweet spot. 357 mag goes back to 1934. Most people who know about firearms know that goes back to Prohibition. The gangsters, they needed a caliber that could shoot through car doors and that sort of thing. So that's way outside the cowboy era. However, that's based on the 38 special, which dates back to 1898. 1898 is still outside that 30-year window, 1865 to 1895 of the Wild West era, cowboy era. So the 38 special really still is outside that era. So, it's not, doesn't really belong in there. So at this point, 45 Colt is more cowboy. However, 38 is based upon the 38 Long Colt, which dates back to 1875. 45 Colt, 1873, 38 Long Colt, 1875. So at this point, just based on dates, 45 Colt is still more cowboy. However, the 38 Long Colt is based, its forefather is the 38 Short Colt, which was used to convert 36 caliber cap and ball Civil War pistols into cartridge. And from what I can gather from multiple sources, they started doing these conversions in 1871. So based on that, the 38, its lineage, edges out the 45 Colt by 2 years. And you say, well, that's, 38 short Colts, nothing like 357 mag. Let me just do one final metric here. The 38 short Colt, 38 long Colt are still made today. Very hard to find. 38 special, 357 mag. All four calibers will still, my understanding, will still fire out of the same pistol today. If you have a 357 mag pistol. All four of those, short Colt, long Colt, 38 special, 357, will all still fire out of the same pistol today. So, that would be my argument. So it does belong in that cowboy era, and it is a cowboy caliber. Now, you could even argue, you could take it to the next level and say it's based on the 36 caliber cap and ball, which brings it way back to Civil War and has even more lineage, but that's a different argument. It's a different ammo altogether, but it has a long history, and it was so neat for me to research this. I thought it just went back, to 1900 and that was it, but it goes way back, and it does belong in that era. So that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. I probably stirred up a hornet's nest because this is all men do online, especially during the winter, is just sit there and argue about stuff like this. But I love American history, like I said, and I thought this was fascinating and so much fun. And let me know if I got something wrong. I did a lot of research, but let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. The way I think personally, the most cowboy Wild West gun is probably caliber is probably the 4440. And my rationale for that is it lands squarely in that date, 1873. It's based on the 44, and it's the one caliber that could be used in both a rifle and a pistol. I just think that is just the. I know the 45 is probably the most popular. 45 Colt is the most popular that you see in movies and that sort of thing, but I think the quintessential cowboy caliber is 4440.